Hello everybody, welcome to the Webmaster Academy. It is our Tuesday training at 12, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're watching the replay or if you're here live, go ahead and give me a shout out. Where are you coming from? How are you doing today? Say hello or just drop a happy face or a like. I'm going to be talking today about the Google Search Console. We're sort of in the search engine optimization part of our Web Design Academy. And so I will be talking for the next several weeks about different tools you can use to get found on Google. So if we kind of go back, the first thing we did was we built a website using templates and artificial design intelligence. Then we focused completely on design, video backgrounds, illustrations, navigation menus, color palettes, all kinds of things you could do to customize your site, make it look great. Now let's talk about how to get your site found. So thank you for joining me. If you want to know more about the Google Search Console, or if you have questions about it, you're in the right place. So let's get started. If you want to know more about the Google Search Alright, so let's get into the Google Search Console. First of all, what is it and how do you get there? Well, you can just Google it. Type in Google Search Console, and I'm going to show you the new version right now. So here's the new version. It'll look something like this. And as you can see, I have a few websites here just for demonstration purposes. Now, some of these sites might be fairly new, so the data may not show the highest numbers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Captivate or the Webmaster Academy. This is a fairly new site, so I'll click on this. Now, you might come into a situation where it'll say that your website has not been verified. If that's true, you're going to have to show that you own the website. And how you do that is they will give you a snippet of HTML code, which you need to paste into the header of your website. I don't have an example for you here, but that's just giving you a little heads up. So what you would do is you would add a property, and then you can add your URL there, your domain name, and then show ownership by putting a line of code into the header section of your site. Once you've done that, you can then verify that you own the site. I'm going to go ahead and click on this website right here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see, now this is the new dashboard. Actually, I'm going to click on try the new Search Console up here. So I'll click there. So this is the new console, and what they've done is really tried to simplify the reports. Now, what is this exactly? This is an amazing tool that Google has provided to you for free. What it does is it shows you how Google is seeing your website. It shows you your ranking. It's going to tell you what search terms people are typing in that's causing your site to show up. And then it's telling you which search terms people are typing in and then actually going and clicking on your site. So one thing is to have your site listed in search results, and it's another thing to have people actually click to go to your site. So this is a fairly new website. This is the Webmaster Academy.online. As you know, we just opened up our school just a few months ago. It's going pretty well. And so the report will show some various numbers here. Let's look at the first sort of performance. And the first thing we're looking at is the total clicks. So you could see easily where the clicks were happening. The school opened, in December 10th. And then we started opening different sessions in January and in February. And you could see where those spikes are. And then you could see that there's the index coverage. So this is telling you how many pages are being indexed by Google. And it'll tell you if there's any errors. So that's really important to know that. Next, we can go ahead and dig in on each of these reports. So this is just the performance reports. So this will tell you, I could just turn these off and on. So right here, there's no data. We can just look at the total clicks. Then we can look at impressions. Now, if I click on the question mark and hover my mouse there, it'll actually tell you what this means. So total impressions is the number of times a user saw a link to your site in search results. Okay, and it doesn't mean they clicked on it, but they saw it. So this site, as you could see, and this should be normal, the impressions should be way bigger than the actual number of clicks. So out of 185 impressions, there were 6 clicks from there. And so then they'll go ahead and calculate the average percentage of impressions that resulted in a click. So they already did the math for you, but I could pull up a chart, and I could even turn off things so I could see where the spikes are. And those spikes are going to probably deal with the kind of content that you're putting on your site, and then your average position. So this tells you, I'll turn everything off here. This tells you the average position that the site is. So obviously you want to be higher up on the chart, and sometimes it could dip and go up and down just depending on the content that you have. So as you can see, being in position on Google is not just this one-time thing. Like, let's say you hit #1. It doesn't mean you'll be #1 tomorrow. So you're always having to make adjustments to your site. And that's truly the art and science of what SEO is all about. All right, so this gives you a good report of the activity on your site. Next, we can talk about the queries, and these are the search queries that are coming up. And so what you could do is you can go ahead and order them and find out what search queries are showing up. Of course, I have to turn on each of these, so I'll turn all of these on. And you can see as I turn them on, the graph below will populate. So if I order by position, so Wix Certified Trainer, when someone typed in Wix Certified Trainer, then it was in the top 5 search results. And if I do the opposite, if someone typed in Interactive Academy, it came up as position number 248. So the words Interactive Academy aren't really on the site almost, at all, except it did come up at least one time. So this will tell you which search terms you should be focusing on because they're coming up. So if Wix Certified Trainer is working for this site, then that term should probably be used a little bit more. We can then optimize and fix that up. However, if we look at the click-through rate, so you want to look at the click-through rate as well, and it'll show you at 50% when people are talking about Learn Worlds, interestingly enough. We can also look at the clicks here. So Learn Worlds seem to be pretty successful in terms of people typing in that term and then clicking on the site to learn more. Now, I could also adjust, instead of the last 3 months, we can adjust the report. And here I could say, what's going on in the last 12 months? And then that'll give you even more numbers and more data that you can follow. And then I could see a number of impressions. So when people typed in Webmaster Academy, it definitely came up a lot more in people's search results. At position number 31, but no one clicked on it. So that means this site, they'll have to work on getting people to actually click on it by figuring out which pages are the most successful, which ones they should go ahead and click on. So I'll click on pages right here. And now you can see your pages. And the pages is going to help you know which areas to target. So you want to take your SEO team and decide which page should be focused on. So on click-through rate, I'm going to do it by order of click-through rate here. So you're getting a 50% when click-through rate, and people are showing up on these subscriptions to the All Access Pass page. Okay, so that's a good page right there. And if I look at positioning, the landing page is actually number 2 on the search results for that specific page. So these are some top search results if people were typing these in. So those are the top pages, and you could go ahead and then focus on those. And the ones that are in the low position, such as the Udemy blog, or there was a blog talking about a free workbook, maybe those you don't have to focus on as much. So that's all it does, is by looking at positioning, tells you which pages on the Google search you should focus on. And then goes into countries. And you might be surprised at what your top countries are. So if I look at positioning, the top positioning for this website is actually in Algeria, and then Tanzania and Spain. So that's kind of interesting. That's showing up in the top results. And so, maybe Spanish, offering some pages in Spanish could help your positioning with other countries. And then we can look at the devices. So here's the devices that are being used. And we can see that a tablet, it's in position number 5. But it's getting more clicks when people are using their mobile or their desktop. And the click-through rate is actually the highest on mobile. So this is saying that even though it's in position 41, it's getting 23% click-through rate. So out of the 26 impressions, 6 people clicked on it. And so the mobile seems to be a good place to make sure this website's optimized for, because there seems to be a lot of success there. In the desktop, it's very competitive on the desktop with 437 impressions with only 5 clicks out of that. So as you can see, it's very competitive in the desktop version. So this is the new Google Search beta. And if I click on Sitemaps, what you want to do is you have to develop your sitemap, talk to your web developer. Since this site happened to use Kajabi, they already used and created a sitemap, and they created a URL, which is webmasteracademy.online/sitemap.xml. So what I did is I had to take this piece right there, and I copied and pasted it. I copied and pasted up in this top line, hit submit, and then it was successful. And so the sitemap can now be better discovered. And I just submitted it actually early this morning. So now that I submitted the sitemap, I should see click-throughs and views, and getting it in front of people should be a lot better, because Google can index the site better now that they have access to the site map, which is simply the tree of pages that you have set up. So that's one thing you want to consider. If you also make a lot of changes to your site, you might want to reconsider. You might want to consider resubmitting your sitemap to the Google Search Console. And then they have a coming soon tab, which is kind of cool. There'll be some things there. You could submit your feedback. This is a beta version. I think it's a great simplified version and just gives you a good way to see how your site's doing, who's seeing it and what pages are working. And then the pages that aren't working, you don't have to focus all your time and energy on those. Focus instead on the things that are working and increase your impressions, increase your click-through rate. So that is an overview of the Google Search Console. I'm just checking the chat. Does anyone have any questions? All right, if you're watching the replay, feel free to ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you for joining me during this live stream. Give me a like, heart, happy face. Let me know that you enjoyed this so then I could do more of these live streams. If you enjoy learning about SEO and how to get your site found on Google. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time. And be sure to check out the webmasteracademy.online where you can learn web design without writing code. I'll see you guys next time.